My name is Johnathan Crumm, and for National History Day, I'm researching a person named Fritz Haber. So, Fritz Haber was an amazing, brilliant man who basically gave us the ability to do things like eat tomatoes in winter, or have essentially a large abundance of any food that we need to consume any time of the year that we want. So, should we consider this man a man who did an amazing deed to help the people? Or can we see Fritz Haber as a person who killed more than all of these people, who killed thousands of people by using the process that he made for good to create evil?
He's probably a better human being than a lot of people who are alive today, and a lot of people who I've studied. And then also he's actually a much worse human being than a lot of people and a lot of people that I've studied.
Fritz Haber was born on December 9th, 1868 in Breslau, Porasia, which is now Wrocław, Poland. 3 weeks after the birth of Fritz Haber, his mother, Paula Haber, died due to a difficult pregnancy. When he was 11, he attended St. Elizabeth Classical School, and later Haber went to the University of Berlin in 1886 and then transferred to Heidelberg University and studied under Robert Bunsen. He continued on to the Berlin Institute of Technology, where he studied under Karl T. Lieberman. After graduation, Haber went to work as an independent assistant to Ludwig Knorr. A few years later, he worked his way up to becoming a professor in 1906. After that, in 1911, he was appointed to be the head of, at the time, new Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Physical Chemistry and Electrochemistry. But in 1933, he was forced to resign due to the Nazi race laws. He spent 4 months exiled in England, working in the laboratory under William Pope at the Cambridge University. At last, in January 29th, 1934, he died in Basel, Switzerland. In 1898, a chemist by the name of William Crookes said that the world's population will starve unless the usage of nitrogen fertilizers were increased.
Nitrogen, and that was the scarcest one. Ironically, even though there's so much nitrogen in the air around us, that's the hardest one to get. Germany sort of made their predictions and their forecasts, and they said, look, like, based on our nitrogen sources right now, we might only have enough nitrogen for the next 30 years. And then what are we going to do after that? We're all going to be hungry.
But the problem with this is simple. There was not a very effective way to harvest this nitrogen. But the worst part of this is, the most abundant source of nitrogen is all around you. 78% of the air we breathe is nitrogen, but it cannot be used as a fertilizer unless it is fixed into a water-soluble substance like ammonia. This pushed Haber to publish his book, The Thorough Dynamics of Technical Gas Reactions. He focused on the synthesis of ammonia and other nitrates, and in 1908, he showed how he could use high pressures in combination with a suitable chrysalis made the synthesis of ammonia feasible. Then, the process was sent to the chemist Karl Bosch, who industrialized the process, thus naming it the Haber-Bosch process. This created nitrogen ammonia feasible and gave you 40% of all the food you eat. For this process, Haber won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1918 and fed a hungry Europe. Before World War I, Haber devoted all of his resources from his institute to the German war effort. He focused on the refinement of the Haber-Bosch process. When he used Wilhelm Oswald's process for turning ammonia to nitric acid, the process not only created fertilizer, but also created nitrates and explosives and ammunition necessary for warfare. Had this not happened, and the British Royal Navy could have ended the war quickly. He was so committed to his warfare gases that he ignored his wife, Clara Haber, questioning of his moral values to the point where she took her own life the night before, and he went to direct more gas attacks the next day. These attacks killed thousands over the course of the war. I've not yet told you my topic for conflict and compromise in history. It is not Fritz Haber and the things he did. It is just Fritz Haber, the person. It has nothing to do with the mustard gas or the process that he built to save the people. It's more of who Fritz Haber is as a person and the war that waged inside of him while these things were transpiring that caused conflict and compromise within and outside of Fritz Haber. So if we go back and we look at Fritz Haber, originally he was praised for he loved the people and the people loved him. It was simple as that. He made this process that saved the people and he received high praise. But then the time for war came and he had a choice to make, because Fritz Haber was a patriot that loved his country. And so that country was Germany. And World War I was nigh. And so Fritz Haber made the choice that changed the person that he was, that made him two different people, a different person. That made him the person that wanted to kill people rather than save them. Because he decided to make the gases for Germany. And because of this, he lost everything. He lost his son, he lost his wife, he lost his research, and even his home because he was exiled. So, to conclusively put this into simpler words, Fritz Haber was a man of deep conflict that made him two people. The conflict in him compromised him into two people, one whom tries to kill the people in the most gruesome way, and one who tries to love the people and save them. That is the conflict, the constant battle between good and evil within him that caused conflict and compromise for him and everyone around him in the world. I personally believe we must hold Fritz Haber accountable for his actions during the war, but I also think we must thank him for saving a starving world. Many people overlook the fact that Fritz Haber was not the only one who did this. American, French, and British chemists were willing to and did make toxic war gases and agents for their government. He caused conflict of starting war gases, made compromise by feeding the hungry Europe. I believe all scientists has a responsibility to make a positive impact on the world and not to harm it. But the rest, I believe, is up for you, the viewer, for yourself to decide. Who is Fritz Haber, and how do you reconcile who he is as a person?